recently we just got some info about Destiny 2 Into the Light, what activity we will be seeing inside of this free update, which is a horde mode. Something that we've been asking for, including myself, for a very long time for Destiny. I mean, I love Firefight in Halo, I love the horde mode in Gears of War, and this is basically what I've been asking for that they showed off in the Into the Light live stream, and I am genuinely excited. And as much as I want to just talk about the Into the Light update in general, I wanted to bring the conversation to something that has been sparked up again with this reveal, which is recycled content, because apparently we're very, very upset that this is recycling content, but I've always made conversation that there is a good way of doing recycled content and there's a bad way. And I wanted to just bring this topic up again because it's always a big one when it comes to Destiny, and I really want us all to kind of like just share our thoughts on how well recycled content can be done if done right. And I feel like this is one of those scenarios where it's done right, and I want to emphasize this. It is a free update. Like, I really, really want everyone to understand that it is free. But I won't lie, I know that with it sometimes it could be annoying to see recycled content in many different forms, especially when it comes to seasons or especially expansions and stuff like that. But again, let's talk about this, because I've had my issues with recycled content. Heck, I showed my distaste for Blindwell being reused in my story content that I paid for Season of the Wish, because I genuinely did not enjoy Blindwell once we started to see like more interesting content of what a horde mode, or at least like an activity, would be like if it was done right. And Blindwell was okay to an extent, but it was just very boring when it came to a lot of the mechanics that it brought. And I'm not here to just bash on Blindwell, but when it was being brought into the Season of the Wish campaign, I was just not happy with a lot of missions being recycled that were from Forsaken and stuff, and that was mainly because this was supposed to be the paid campaign for the season. If it was part of anything that was brand, like free, like just, it's not meant to be all brand new because it's free, okay, maybe, but even then, recycling content, it can be done right if, well, done right. And when it comes to this horde mode, a lot of people are pointing out that the map, the one of, I have no idea how many maps, because I guess they said that they will have more, and I'm going to guess that maybe the other maps will be also PvP map themes. I have no idea. Like maybe one of them will be on Bannerfall. We will see. But the point is that everyone was really, well, not everyone, but I'm just saying that a lot of people were calling out that it was recycled content, that the area that was being shown off was Midtown, a PvP map with some changes to it, some destruction and the pyramid-themed designs everywhere and stuff like that, and people were, well, I guess upset over the free update and this recycled content. And you have the right to your opinion, but I just really want everyone to understand that this is good stuff, especially when it's free. But not only that, but this is something that I've been saying for a very long time, that when you have things already built in the game, if you recycle it in a way to where it builds upon to something exciting and new, or something that can be innovative, like a horde mode, this is good stuff. I mean, heck, take the horrible map that we got for Savathun's Throne World and make that into the horde mode map. Like, a lot of people did not like that map for PvP. How about making it into a horde mode, a PvE experience? Now you see where I'm getting at? Like, there's a lot of things where recycling content can be very bad, and there could be areas where it could actually be very beneficial, like taking a map that wasn't really that great in PvP and making it into something that's at least good for PvE. And yeah, I've said this about even Gambit maps, like trying to turn like some PvP maps into Gambit maps, some Gambit maps into maybe PvP maps. Probably not, because then, you know, I don't know. But even then, like just kind of changing them enough, adding things, morphing things around to where they're an activity for every section. I mean, I'm not saying it would be a strike. Obviously, it's just a map. The point is, with a horde mode map, essentially they are like the size of a PvP map. So, have a PvP map, a Gambit map, and a horde map that's in the same aesthetic. Boom, mashed together in the core playlists. This is good. That's good. I mean, recycled content where it's also good is like even going back as far as Destiny 1 Taken King, where they took strikes and revamped them. They changed them. They gave them a little bit of an overhaul. I mean, look at when what they did with like the strikes where they added Taken to them when originally they didn't. And that was one thing that was missing with Destiny 2 was you would go into a strike and every time would be something a little bit different, like the enemies, or maybe there would be a turret that would spawn, like for the Archon Priest strike. Maybe the Archon Priest boss might not even be a fallen enemy. It will be Taken instead. Like, those were things that was recycling content, but it made it into something where it makes sense, and it's good, and it's free as well. And I'm not necessarily saying that everything has to be like a free update if it's recycled and that's the only way it's going to be good recycled content. You can recycle content and even paid content if it's done right. Like, I genuinely don't understand where the frustration comes with this horde mode, because I think that this is a fantastic idea. I mean, even in Destiny 1, when we had those missions where we would get our subclass through a PvP map. Remember that? Remember when we had it was like a burning shrine for Titans to get the solar hammers for Stormcaller. I can't remember the map, what it was. I think it was like a Cabal themed map or something like that. But we went there. And then we had the Vex map for hunters to get tether. It was interesting to see PvE enemies on a PvP map, and I just thought to myself, it would be kind of cool to see these PvP maps reused for some kind of horde mode as well. Gears of War and Halo did this. Gears of War, all of their PvP maps could be played in a horde mode. Halo was kind of the same way, sort of, but not really, because the maps that they were using were campaign missions, but those campaign missions were also turned into PvP maps. There was a lot of recycling there with the firefighting and ways, so kind of. And even then, the point is being able to use certain types of recycled content to be used in a good fashion, where it's innovative, or it's like it makes sense. Like, yes, it is kind of annoying. For example, I saw that we're getting another version of Hung Jury, which recycling that weapon, I don't know. We've seen this like be recycled now multiple seasons. It's not like it's been gone for a long time, like Midnight Coup, which that hand cannon, I mean, that's been gone for a long time, and seeing that return with some very spicy rolls with what we saw at first, which was it was a Firefly and Kinetic Tremors roll, which I'm excited to see what other combinations there are. That's where recycling a weapon could be good. I even said that for a lot of weapons, where bringing back a weapon that had some changes to it, where like the perks are brand new and stuff like that, can make it either unique again or better than what it originally was. these are good things. Again, free update. When it comes to free content, this is stuff that's really, really nice. What I'm hoping, though, is that they take this horde mode, this onslaught mode, and they make it a core thing inside of the Destiny's future. Because again, I mentioned this, that imagine if, like, I mean, I'm not saying that, oh, we should always just get recycled content all the time, but with how things have been lately, imagine if we were able to have Gambit maps be reformed a bit to where they also work for PvP and the onslaught mode. Imagine we could have PvP maps reshaped and reformed or whatever to where it could work for Gambit, where it could work for the onslaught mode. And same thing for onslaught mode maps, if they ever make those unique for there, to also work for the other core playlists as well. It's making everything connected where there's content everywhere. I would have been perfectly fine if they took the EDZ map from Gambit, changed it a bit, changed it a bunch, I don't know, and somehow turned it into a PvP map as well to play. Somehow. I mean, get creative. To, you know, remove certain areas of the map, like the mountain in the back, and add some more stuff over there. I'm not saying that I'm super creative to think about like what they would do, but I'm just saying, like, it wouldn't be just take the map and push it over to here. It would just change it a bit. And that's what they did with Midtown for this onslaught mode. It's good. And it's free. I don't know. I genuinely don't understand a lot of the hate for this one. It's very ironic because when I complained about Blindwell, people were like, come on, really? You don't have to deal with it. It's not that big of a deal. You play it for a little bit and then you move on. But the reason why I was just bothered by it is because this was the main thing. They didn't do anything different with Blindwell. They didn't do what they're doing with this onslaught mode, with specifically Midtown, where they change it a bit. They innovate it. They make it fresh. They make it feel better. There are so many glaring issues that Blindwell had even when it released, and it's kind of sad that they didn't change it even just a bit. Like, I don't like the whole wait for enemies to spawn and you know, you can't go outside because the air is spicy. I didn't like that concept with this mode for Blindwell. And I was hoping that they were going to change it to where it's an actual, like, horde mode with tons and tons of enemies. I mean, at the end, obviously, yes, there is a lot of enemies, but when you're trying to get to that point, it's slow, it's boring. It's just like, okay, when do we get to the fun part, which is the chaos at the end? I wish the chaos was always there from the beginning. That was all I was saying. Was doing some changes, small tweaks here and there, can make something that's recycled not just be like boring. It can have its innovations or some things to make it a little bit more unique. I mean, imagine we get like all the other activities back or patrol areas that we lost with the Destiny 2 content vault. Imagine we would get the Leviathan raid and we see some changes there. And even then, with the new subclasses and stuff that we have, going through the Leviathan raid would be unique alone on it coming back. But I said this, what if they took the Red War campaign and gave it back to us? But not only did they give it back to us, we had a legend version of it as well. We would actually be able to go through the campaign, not as a, oh, this is the easiest thing we ever did, to something that actually has a challenge to it. And what if we had rewards that were reissued, recycled to be unique that you would get through doing this legend campaign? Imagine. This is what I'm talking about, where recycling content is actually not as bad as people think it is, but I do understand the frustration, especially if you're spending money on something like an expansion or whatever. You don't really want to see something that you already paid for from previous expansions that they took away from you just be thrown back in your face because gotta get that playtime. With this onslaught mode, I do not see any of that. I don't see any of those issues that I had with like the blind well being thrown at us. This is something that actually looks innovative. It looks like something that is exactly what I've said for a long time on doing recycled content right. That's how I look at it. Because again, there is a good way of doing recycling of content for Destiny where it would keep our attention. The things that I just mentioned, like those things, they would keep our attention. It would be nice. Again, Red War campaign on Legend. You thought Gaul was a snorefest? Imagine if it was on Legend difficulty. And again, obviously there would be rewards. Like they would take some maybe old, like the very first armor sets that we had in the game and do something very unique to them. And then have some weapons, some very good weapons. You can get adept versions as well through doing the Legend campaigns. Like, imagine they did that. And that goes for all the campaigns, even the Curse of Osiris and Warmind campaigns. They brought that back. Imagine they brought back Escalation Protocol and changed it. And they had unique weapons in there as well. The point is that there's a way of doing recycling of content that's done right. And I feel like people just being upset that they see something that they recognize is just a little bit ridiculous. I'm for this onslaught mode, this horde mode. If they were to turn every PvP map that we have in Destiny 2 right now into this onslaught mode, like, come on. I'd be all for this. Imagine being able to have PvE experiences on every PvP map. Are you seriously going to sit there and say that that would not be something unique or interesting? Something that they could build upon? And again, and I'm not just saying that they would just use recycled content. They would have new stuff too that they could build upon for expansions or seasons. Make it into a core playlist. Make it into a core experience in general. Come on. That would be cool. That's all I wanted to say though, because again, this topic always seems to show up whenever there's any sort of content that is being thrown at us that looks familiar. I'm still waiting for a lot of our strikes to get some innovations where they recycle ideas. I mean, they kind of did with the arms dealer strike, but I wish that all the strikes would get this. Even if lore doesn't make sense on a lot of these strikes, I wish that they would do some innovations to them to make them feel unique. And stop putting battlegrounds in there. Please. That's where recycling is going too far. I wouldn't mind a battlegrounds playlist, though. But regardless, that is all I'm just going to share. Just wanted to get that out there. I want to know your thoughts, though, in the comments down below. Like, do you really have that much of an annoyance for this onslaught mode because it's recycled, and why? And if you're really excited about this and you agree with what I'm saying, let me know as well. Like, or if you have any other ideas other than what I mentioned that would be good ways of recycling content on stuff that we already have or lost, if they brought it back or innovated it, let me know. Regardless, thank you so much for listening. Hope you're having a chibi-tastic night, day, evening, wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next video. Chibi out.